सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। आत्मा त्वं गिरिजामतिः सहचरा, प्राणा शरीरं गृहम्, पूजा ते विषयोपभोग रचना, निद्रा समाधि स्थितिः, संचारः पदयो प्रदक्षिण विधि, स्तोत्राणि सर्वा गिरो, यद्यत् कर्म करोमि तत्तदखिलम् शम्भो तवाराधनम्। करचरण कृतं वा कायजं कर्मजं वा, श्रवणनयनजं वा मानसं वा पराधं, विहितमविहितं वा सर्वमेतत् क्षमस्व। जय जय करुणाब्धे श्री महादेव शंभो। जय जय करुणाब्धे श्री महादेव शंभो। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। आज के इस वेबिनार में आप सभी का बहुत प्रेम के साथ स्वागत है। और इस वेबिनार में जैसा कि हम अध्यात्म के विभिन्न पहलुओं पर विचार करते आ रहे हैं, लेकिन अध्यात्म में जो गुरु होता है या सिद्ध है, ऐसे महापुरुष जो साक्षात्कार को प्राप्त हो गए हैं, उनकी एक महती भूमिका है। और इसीलिए जब उनके संसर्ग में कोई आता है तो वो मुमुक्षु बहुत आसानी से अपनी अंतर यात्रा के रास्ते पर चल पड़ता है। और यही कारण है कि हम घूम फिर करके बार बार जैसे ही मौका मिल जाता है, जो गुरु तत्व है उसके अनुसंधान का कोई मौका हम छोड़ते नहीं हैं। तो आज का वेबिनार भी बहुत इस माने में महत्वपूर्ण है कि हम एक महान सिद्ध और साक्षात्कारी पुरुष दादा गावंड के बारे में कुछ जानने का और उनसे परिचित होने का एक बहुत अच्छा अवसर हमें मिल रहा है। और हमारे पास उनसे संबंधित कुछ तस्वीरें हैं, तो मैं हेमा जी से अनुरोध करूंगा कि वो जरा जो उनका एक तस्वीरों का वो सबको दिखाएं और आप सभी देखें कि एक सिद्ध पुरुष के चेहरे पर कैसी सहजता, कैसा तेज, कैसी स्थिरता मौजूद होती है कि उनको देखने मात्र से ही आपके अंदर कुछ कुछ जगने लगता है। तो आप हेमा जी आप शुरू करें और उसको दिखाएं। Not playing, Hema? Hello?
Sir, can you see?
Yeah, I can see, but it is not playing.
Sir, the second slide is on.
Oh, wait just a minute. Okay. It's playing. I can't. Because in my case, it is not playing.
It is not playing.
Now?
Just a minute. Should I try, Hema, from my end?
Okay, sir.
Just you can cancel it. So are you seeing Dada's pictures?
Yes, sir.
ऑब्वियसली ये लग रहा है जैसे ये तस्वीरें जब दादा यूएसए गए थे अपने टूर पर तब खींची गई हैं। ये बहुत पहले की लगती है, साधना के आरंभिक काल की। ये दादा की समाधि है। सन 2012 में उन्होंने शरीर छोड़ा था, उसके बाद इसका निर्माण हुआ। ये समाधि के बाहर जो लेख है उस पर उन्होंने जो कुछ लिखा था, उनका एक वक्तव्य है। और ये चलता रहेगा। मैं आपको दादा के बारे में कुछ बताता हूँ। दादा गवंड का जन्म 1917 में मुंबई में एक व्यवसायी परिवार में हुआ था। तो दादा का अर्थ ही होता है बड़ा भाई, और दादाजी अपने भाई बहनों में सबसे बड़े थे, तो इसलिए दादा का संबोधन उनके साथ बहुत बचपन से ही जुड़ गया और अभी भी जुड़ा हुआ है, जबकि वो शरीर में नहीं है तब भी। और विधि का ऐसा खेल था कि 18 साल की उम्र में दादा के कंधों पर अपने परिवार की देखभाल का और उसके भरण पोषण का जिम्मा आ पड़ा। और दादा ने बहुत कुशलता से व्यवसाय ही नहीं चलाया, बल्कि अपनी सभी पारिवारिक जिम्मेदारियां भी निभाई। और बहुत अल्प आयु से ही उनके अंदर एक सत्य को जानने की ललक जग गई। तो उन्होंने बहुत सारा अध्ययन किया। जो थियोसॉफिकल सोसाइटी की मैडम ब्लेवेट्स्की हैं, उनकी पुस्तकें पढ़ी, जो कि काफ़ी दुरूह हैं। जब तक कोई व्यक्ति आध्यात्मिक रूप से अंदर से पूरी तरह जगा हुआ नहीं होगा, तब तक उसको समझ में नहीं आएगा। वे उन्होंने यात्राएं भी की, रमण महर्षि को मिले और पांडिचेरी की मदर के दर्शन भी किए। और बड़ी तीव्र मुमुक्षुत्व की भावना थी उनके अंदर थी। तो इसीलिए उन्होंने स्वयं अपने व्यक्तिगत जीवन में विवाह का बंधन नहीं पाला, और जो भी जिम्मेदारियां थी एक के बाद एक करके उनको निर्वाह करते गए। अपनी बहनों की शादियां उन्होंने बड़े संभ्रांत परिवारों में की। और जैसे ही उनका छोटा भाई व्यवसाय संभालने के लायक हो गया और उसकी शादी उन्होंने कर ली, तो उसके हाथ में सब कुछ छोड़ करके 38 वर्ष की छोटी उम्र में दादा जो है वो भगवान बुद्ध की तरह से घर बार छोड़ करके एकांतवास में ईश्वर को तलाशने के लिए, सत्य को तलाशने के लिए निकल गए। और उन्हें आश्रय मिला तो कहाँ, उन्होंने अपने लिए जगह चुनी तो वो सातारा में सज्जनगढ़ की पहाड़ियों में जो जंगली इलाका था, उसमें एक छोटी सी अबैंडन्ड छोड़ी हुई हट थी, झोपड़ी थी, उसमें ही जाकर वहां बैठ गए। और कोई काम ही नहीं था। सारे समय बैठकर सिर्फ अपने मन को देखना, आत्मचिंतन करना। कुछ चावल नीचे से ले आते थे कभी, और रोज एक वक्त वो चावल ही बना करके उबाल करके उसको खा लेते। और इस तरह से उन्होंने पूरी तन्मयता से, पूरी निष्ठा से अपने को, जो सेल्फ इंक्वायरी होती है, आत्मचिंतन है, उसको समर्पित कर दिया। और ये आत्मचिंतन वर्षों चला। और इसके दौरान दादा ने पहचाना कि हमारे और हमारे सत्य, या हमारे अंदर जो सत्य है, उसके बीच में एक ही दीवार है, और वो दीवार है हमारा मन। लेकिन मन भी क्या है कि जब हम उसको बहुत गहराई से उसमें झांकने का प्रयास करने लगते हैं, तो वो हमारे सामने टिक नहीं पाता है। हमारी दृष्टि के आगे उसकी एक परतें धीरे धीरे एक एक करके गिरती चली जाती हैं। तो दादा के साथ भी ऐसा ही हुआ। एक दिन मन ही नहीं रहा। जो प्योर अवेयरनेस है, प्योर कॉन्शियसनेस है, उसमें वो प्रतिष्ठित हो गए। चेतना जो है वो अपने परम स्वातंत्र्य को पहुंच गई। कालांतर में दादा अलग अलग स्थानों में रहे। अपने अनुभवों को उन्होंने, या जो अपनी अंतर की यात्रा थी, उसके बारे में उन्होंने बहुत ही स्पष्टता के साथ लिपिबद्ध किया, उसकी पुस्तक बनाई, ताकि दूसरे मुमुक्षु या दूसरे लोग जो इस मार्ग पर चलना चाहते हैं, वो उसको पढ़ करके जान सकें कि ये यात्रा कैसी है, और मन इसमें क्या क्या रचनाएं करता है, और किस तरह जो है हम लगे रहें तो धीरे धीरे वो मन हमारे आगे से अपने आप हट जाता है। उन्होंने बहुत सी पुस्तकें लिखी, और ये पुस्तकें जो हैं वो सत्य को बहुत सीधे सच्चे ढंग से बताती हैं। और इन मानों में दादा की पुस्तकें इस वक्त हम दिखा रहे हैं, एक उनकी इंटेलिजेंस बियॉन्ड थॉट, उनकी अपनी स्पिरिचुअल ऑटोबायोग्राफी है। इसके अलावा और भी पुस्तकें हैं जो अमेजन पर और जगह उपलब्ध हैं। और ये पुस्तकें जो हैं वो एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण दस्तावेज हैं उन सब लोगों के लिए जो अपने अंतर में झांकना चाहते हैं और एक दिन अंतर में निहित सत्य का पाना चाहते हैं। दादाजी ने कई देशों की यात्राएं की, और उन्होंने कभी किसी को बुलाया नहीं अपने पास, कभी कोई ऐसा गुरुडम नहीं चलाया। लेकिन जो खोजी लोग होते थे, वो कहीं ना कहीं नियति उनको, या उनकी खोज या उनकी साधना की तड़प, वो उनको दादाजी के पास पहुंचा देती थी, और वो लोग उनसे जो कुछ मिलना था उसको पा करके जीवन भर के लिए लाभान्वित हो जाते। 29 जनवरी 2012 को 95 वर्ष की परिपक्व उम्र में दादाजी ने शरीर त्याग किया। हमारी मित्र हैं प्रोफेसर अंजलि भेलांडे, और वो रुइया कॉलेज में इंग्लिश की प्रोफेसर हैं, और वहाँ के जो विभागाध्यक्ष थी, अभी तो रिटायर हो गई। तो उनके सौजन्य से ही मुझे दादाजी के बारे में पता चला, और एक बार मुझे लेकर वो दादाजी के पास गई थी। और थाने में जो उनका स्थान था, वहाँ हम गए तो उनके चारों ओर एक ऐसी निसीम शांति विराजमान थी, जैसे उधर प्रवेश करने मात्र से ही आदमी के मन में एक बहुत निश्चिंतता, एक बहुत आह्लाद, एक प्रेम या स्नेह अपने आप ही जगने लगता। तो मैंने तो दादाजी को एक ही बार देखा, लेकिन प्रोफेसर अंजलि जो है वो बहुत साल तक उनके संपर्क में रही, और उन्होंने एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका दादाजी के लिए निभाई कि दादाजी की जो पुस्तकें थीं उनकी एडिटिंग का काम किया, और बहुत दिनों तक ये सेवा कई वर्षों तक करती रही। तो इसके चलते हर सप्ताहांत, हर वीकेंड में उनको दादाजी के पास जाकर वहाँ रहने का और उनके संसर्ग का अनुभव मिला। तो उनके पास बहुत सारे अनुभव हैं दादाजी के। तो मैंने उनसे रिक्वेस्ट की थी कि वो हमें कुछ दादाजी के बारे में बताएं, और उन्होंने, वो आज यहाँ मौजूद है, नॉर्मली नहीं आ पाती हैं किसी कारण से, तो इसलिए उन्होंने एक छोटा सा वीडियो रिकॉर्ड करके दिया था, तो हम वीडियो देखेंगे। लेकिन अंजलि जी के बारे में मैं अपने व्यक्तिगत बात कुछ बता दूं कि मुझे दो एक बार रुइया कॉलेज में, जहाँ ये प्रोफेसर हैं, वहाँ जाने का मौका मिला। तो मैंने देखा कि अपने स्टूडेंट्स तो है ही, लेकिन दूसरे जो बच्चे हैं, ये लड़के लड़कियां जो शायद इनके स्टूडेंट्स नहीं हैं, वो भी भाग भाग कर बहुत अपनत्व के साथ इनके पास आते हैं, इनसे अपनी सारी बातें, अपनी सारी परेशानियां या जो भी कठिनाइयां हैं वो शेयर करते हैं। तो कहीं से उनको सबको ये विश्वास है कि ये जो है, इनके पास आने से हमको कुछ संरक्षण मिल जाएगा, हमारी समस्या का निदान हो जाएगा। तो उस व्यक्तित्व की झलक जब ये अंजलि जी आपको संबोधित करेंगी वीडियो के माध्यम से, तो आपको जरूर इसका अनुभव होगा। तो अभी हम वो वीडियो देखते हैं जो अंजलि जी ने बनाकर हमें दिया है।
Namaste, salutations to Shri Dada Gavand and to each one of you today. And thank you, Mr. God, for this lovely opportunity to remember Dadaji. It's a little bit of a challenge to speak about him because he always discouraged us from focusing on personality. And all I can say is there was so much joy and contentment and serenity in him. And also the most striking feature when I first met him was his intense attentive awareness. It was a kind of aloof awareness. And the other thing I noticed was his very creative and magnetic presence. It was very uplifting. He had a very kind face and a very convincing tone, which made me listen to him with all my being, very first instance. And he was austere in his ways, I realized, and yet he could enjoy every moment, and the little joys of life also brought him much happiness. He used to grow fruit in his backyard, and when we gathered the fruit, he would not partake of the fruit. He would just hold the fruit very, very with great reverence. And also I remember he has a slide, and he has a photograph which he himself took in his book Intuitive Intelligence, in which it's a fruit basket, and he writes there that nature gives us in abundance, but we rarely reciprocate by giving back to nature. I feel that his chief contribution to my personal seeking on my own spiritual journey, as it is for many others as well, I'm sure, is his insistence on the very self-deceptive nature of the human mind, which is the chief hindrance. He always emphasized that the chief hindrance in our quest is the mind itself, which is ego, which is falsehood. And what it does is it abhors silence and therefore derails any attempt that we may make to go within. He used to say, take an appointment with yourself and take a U-turn and go within, because all those treasures that the saints have talked about are all within, and we keep looking for them without, and also we get engaged in a life of actions and reactions. So he said to us that your mind will either turn the practice into something mechanical or boring, or it will discourage you by saying it is difficult, which is really not true, because it's something natural, and that cannot be difficult if it is natural. Another feature is of the mind is to romanticize everything, idealize, to sing songs of praise. And he would say, don't sing my praises, and don't sing the praises of scriptures either, though they are supportive and full of light. They will not take you there. You have to walk on your own 2 feet, with your own 2 feet, he would say. And there is tremendous potentiality within each one of us, which can be tapped. And it is just that you have to take the first step, and that energy will actually take those remaining 9 steps and jump into you. It's eager to jump into you. It's always already there, but it will be experienced by you, it will be felt by you if you take the right steps. And I would like to share with you some of his striking metaphors. He would say that initially it is one part of the mind that watches the remaining, the other parts. And however, it works like a siphon. If you are witnessing and your witnessing intensifies, then the energy that was going into thinking, what do you have to witness? Your own thoughts, emotions, which are nothing but refined thought, he would say, and whatever arises. And as you witness, the energy from the thoughts will come into the witnessing, and it will then be self-propelling, and your witnessing will intensify and your thinking will reduce as a result. Also, he used the metaphor of the tiger in a circus. He said even a tiger can be made to sit still. It can be trained. Likewise, people train their minds to sit quietly in meditation, but that is not real quietude or tranquility. For that, you have to fathom the depths of your own consciousness, and until all the muck within begins to surface, all your fears, anxieties, desires, angers, hate, self-hate, guilt, all these have to surface and to leave you for good. Only then is there any chance of your making contact with that innermost tranquility that is your own divinity. One more interesting metaphor that I'd like to share is that of the whole act of witnessing. He said witnessing is, or meditation is, a solo performance in which the performer and the conductor are one and the same. So an external agency cannot perform it for you. You have to be the conductor, like in a symphony or a music piece. You are your own conductor and performer. I think that is a very telling image, isn't it? Also, it is very important to not measure your own progress. Once I went to him and said, "Nothing is happening, Dadaji, what is wrong?" And he said to me, "The mind not only measures, it also compares. Never do that. Those are traps. You must keep away from measuring. You just be simple, honest, and anonymous," he would say. And then something is sure to happen. It's your birthright. It's a natural movement, and it will, of course, happen in its time, but it will happen. It is something that is assured if you take the right steps and walk without crutches. So these are the things I wanted particularly to share. I remember one incident when a bus conductor, Swiss bus conductor, I don't know how he found out about Dadaji, because Dadaji never advertised himself. He would say, "Honey never goes to the bees. Bees come looking for the honey, attracted by its fragrance." And this conductor had done just that. And he didn't even know English. He spoke some broken English, and he was so overjoyed in his presence. And he said some force has brought him, some push. He kept saying push. He meant that there was a thrust which made him come here. And so when he left, I asked Dadaji, why is it that I don't feel this, whatever he's calling push? I come to you every weekend, but I don't feel the push. And so he smiled and he said, "How can you feel the push when the pull of attachments is so strong? So you spend your time observing the pull, which is serving as a hindrance to your quest." So such were the metaphors he used. Once somebody asked him, "Dadaji, can I wear this stone? Should I wear an emerald or should I wear a topaz?" And Dadaji said, "Oh yeah, wear all these stones and become a stone yourself soon." And what he meant was that though gems do have their vibration and they do help, people are forgetful of the fact that there is a whole powerhouse within us which we never seem to tap. We are never eager to activate this powerhouse within us, which is there for free, but we don't take these measures because the mind doesn't allow us. So it would be really worthwhile going through his books and some of the videos that are available, and then spending more time and energy going within. And he was not against chanting, or see this kind of awareness you need, chanting or breath awareness. All these, he said, are useful, but the chief hindrance being the mind, one has to understand this structure, which is so very clever that it doesn't allow us to fully understand and fully realize our potential. So I would be very happy if some of you read some of his work and benefit from the question answers, frequently asked question sections of his books. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear Anjali, for such a wonderful, and a very intimate way to describe Dadaji. and share some of the insights that you received while in contact with him. And now it is the time for real darshan. The darshan is something that you are present and you absorb everything through your mind, your heart. And we are going to be watching a video of Dadaji. And it's a kind of a question and answer session where he is giving replies to certain questions. So, Hemaji, should I play that? Okay. You have disabled the screen sharing option for me because I was disconnected. So, you will have to sort of make me the host again.
So now you can share.
Okay. I'll just.
So all of you who were having little low volume issues, please increase the volume from your side because Sir's laptop volume is on 100%. So we were having a lot of messaging. So please check your laptops and mobile. Thank you. Yes, sir.
And can everybody hear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hearing, no, sir. Music is not there.
No?
Again, you have to do that enable
Yes.
computer sound. So you want me to play, so I will play.
I got one question to start off. On behalf of Indian community here, it's a great pleasure to get a chance to talk to a person like you. Now, I was reading your literature here, and I got one question to start off. It says you have seen through your own life the possibility of complete and radical transformation of a human conscience. May I ask, how have you seen that? Through your own experiences or through your own life?
Yes, that was a challenging experiment for me. Well, in my young days, I heard a lot of people talking about the soul and the Atma and some other dimensional existence. And I got interested into it, and then somehow I thought that was a challenge worth taking in life, to discover that quality, that dimensional energy. And so I set about right earnestly. At the age of my 30, I completed my responsibility of family and the business, and then I took almost a holiday, complete holiday, and just left my home and went about to discover this kind of energy that many sages have talked about. And somehow, through my austere life, dedication and constant search, I did come upon some levels in my own consciousness. For that I had to understand my consciousness first, my mind, my psyche, my all emotional setup. And by examining, searching and discovering all things about myself, I came to a dead end in my consciousness, and there the mind was not able to move further. And there something happened. The mystery of life just was revealed, and I came upon some other dimensional level of energy, of consciousness. And that is the basis of life, I see. There is something very dynamic, very creative, and very much pure energy state. And then I did stumble upon that. And since that time I'm trying to talk about that to other people. And that's why I'm just traveling, talking to people to show that there is something intrinsic, something basic, something pristine in one's own inner consciousness. And the challenge of life is to discover that quality of life, so that life will be really quiet, tranquil, peaceful and fulfilling. And through my experience, I say that there is some such thing existing.
Is that something that is common to all human beings? Is your conscience very common to the one I have? Or is there a difference in
No, I think there is no difference. Basically, this kind of energy is pervading the whole universe. This energy is dwelling everywhere, in all human beings, in nature, right up to the cosmos. This whole energy is pervading. That's the creation. But we are clouded in our mind. We are so much caught up in our own mind, our own little self and the ego, that we are unable to capture that quality, that dimension. So only hindrance is our own mind, our own little consciousness. If we understand that and dispel that, clear that veil, then perhaps it's all over everywhere. It's a universal force.
What you're saying is difference between one human being to another one is the difference in realizing that you have that energy, you have that tranquility within you.
Yes.
But not realizing it.
Yes, exactly. The shadow of the self is the hindrance. Remove that hindrance. With understanding, dispel that cloud. Then the sun is there in the sky.
Another question I would like to ask you is, some people believe in knowledge, whereas some other people believe in understanding. We can all have knowledge, we can memorize mantras, we can memorize what each verse is.
Yeah.
Now, in your words, what is the difference between knowledge and understanding? And my own experience is I believe in understanding more than knowledge.
Yes, that's good.
How does one move from knowledge to understanding?
Yes. Knowledge is generally the information. We collect information about many other things, and that becomes a knowledge that builds up the intellect. Intellect is the outcome of information only. The information, which is the intellect, is not going to give you the experience of the fact. Experience is something innate. It's a personal state. The experience has to happen in one's own inward personal state. But the knowledge is just a verbal activity, a gathering of information which works through brain only. You can collect all the knowledge of the world and yet remain ignorant, unwise person. But the experience will make you wise, intuitive. And that is the essence of the spirituality. So we need to have that experience and not get hooked up into the knowledge which is just the information, collection of facts and figures. Is something very dry. And the knowledge is always of the past. People have collected that. And we get that kind of information and put in our brain only. We don't have any relationship with that understanding of that fact, which has become the knowledge now. So knowledge is a dry information about the facts collected by other people. So now, in this culture, in this educational system, we are worshipping this knowledge, accumulating information in all departments. And in this spiritual matter also, the same attitude is displayed. We are trying to collect the information. We try to gather all the opinions and information given and said by other saints and philosophers and seers. And then we cramp our head with all that information. That's why I read so much about the religion. So many books come. And then we gobble, we just read and read and read. And we think that this reading and collecting knowledge will give us some understanding. But understanding here is experiencing. And that kind of experiencing will never come about through this collection of facts, which is information. So the informative knowledge has to come to an end. We must see the limitation of this kind of knowledge, because this knowledge, which are just concepts, ideas, are not going to take you to that fact, to that experiencing of reality. So this information itself becomes a hindrance, because it becomes an idea, it becomes an intellectual activity. And the idea and the intellect itself is the barrier in realizing the reality. Reality is innate experience. But this knowledge is just the activity of the brain and the mind and the thought and the ideas. So we have to see this limitation of the idea and the knowledge. If you are really interested in experiencing the truth, experience the divinity, that other dimensional energy. For the experiencing of that, all this is just a hindrance. So we have to be free from all these ideas, all this knowledge, all your concepts, all your philosophies also, and the scriptures too. Then you are ready to receive and experience the truth.
Leading the same question a little bit farther, what is the difference between experience and awareness or conscience? Sometimes we go on indulging in different things because we say we are trying to get experience and see how it is, even though within us we know that is not what we should be doing. How do you distinguish between that kind of experience and the experience which comes with awareness?
That's why, as I said, one has to see first what is this kind of idea activity, what this struggle to understand with the mind, with the concept. See that as long as the thought is active, there is no possibility of having the experience of any truth. So see this very clearly, what a thought is, how it gets into being, how it is just a reflection of the past. Thought is a product of the past experience. If you don't have an experience of the past, there is no room for a thought. So see that thought is just a product of the past. The past which is over, gone, is dead. is gone. But we cling to that thought because it is there in the memory. And all the time we are working with the memory mind. Along with that memory mind, the whole thought process, the whole intellect, the whole self is active. And as long as the self is active, there is no room for experiencing of the reality, which is always fresh, always new. So the self, which is the product of the past, the memory, which is the build-up of the old, will never be able to experience that is new, right, working in the present. The reality functions right in the present, in that fleeting moment. So this thought idea will never be able to bring you to in that present. The whole thrust of spirituality is to come into that moment of the present. That present which is functioning so swiftly, so quietly, right in front. But we are not able to come into the present because all burdened by the past. We are the result of the past. We are so heavy in our mind with the collection of all the garbage of the past. So with this burden of the past, you cannot move further into that fleeting moment of the present. The beauty lies in coming in that micro moment to receive that reality. And the awareness is just a way to be aware of all this mind activity, to be conscious of this whole game of the memory mind, and to be free of it. Then in that freedom, perhaps this realization can come. So the challenge is to get rid of this mind, this memory, the intellect, the self, with understanding, seeing very well that this is a real hindrance in understanding the present. Because we are clinging all the time to the past, which is over, gone almost. So the challenge is to come into the present, to feel it, to know it. And there's the beauty of that reality.
How does one break away from the past? I know it's very difficult. We all are clinging to the thoughts of the past or the future, what might come to pass. Is that possible, or does one attain that state through meditation or through working for others? I'm kind of thinking about the difference between Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. What in your approach would be the way to go?
Well, there is one and only approach is of understanding this whole structure of the past and the mind. We don't try to understand it. We try to indulge in some kind of technique, and again that technique becomes the mind game. But we never try to realize what this past is, how it is active all the time, how it has become such a big thing, a heavy thing, which is guiding all the time. Our whole structure of personality is the outcome of the past. And it is the past that is always dictating the terms. When we see this whole activity of the past, realizing this through awareness, say through meditation, through observation, to investigation, then you begin to realize how I am carrying the burden of the past only. And this past is unable to give me the experience of the present which is so free, is incapable. When I saw this in my own life, that mind is the real hindrance in experiencing that timeless quality of the present, which is the reality of life. Then my challenge becomes my own past, my own mind. Then doing this karma and karma yoga and bhakti yoga has no much meaning in it. Whatever that is done by the help of this mind is again an hindrance. Through all these things, it is the mind that establishes itself. It's the mind that entrenches itself. It remains fixed. So anything that strengthens the mind is a hindrance for this kind of understanding. So all your doings, maybe your karma yoga or bhakti yoga and all that thing, if that is strengthening your mind, strengthening your memory, then it is a hindrance. You have to understand this very simple fact of life. The real hindrance between you and the reality is only the mind, your own self. And how is it possible to negate this self? Clean the screen of consciousness so that you can see clearly, transparently, something that is beyond.
So what you're saying is we can do it whatever works in stopping our mind from building itself,
Yes.
but whatever works to bring us to the present.
Yes, yes.
I also noticed you have written a couple of books. Are you basically expounding on the same principle?
Yes, it's the same principle. Well, my first book came with the title Beyond the Mind. What I am talking about is something that lies beyond the mind. All this kind of good virtues are all there only. So the mind is just a thought activity. The virtues of the mind are not real virtues, they are concepts. You can practice them, but still they are your traditional virtues. They are outcome of the tradition only. Because you are told, because you are trained in a particular system, particular way, particular moral conduct, that's why you do it. But that becomes a habit. They are not your intrinsic virtues, They are trained. So one has to inquire for the discovery of that virtue which is intrinsic, which is free, which is basic. This cultivated virtue is not a virtue at all. Cultivated honesty is not honesty. That's why the cultural impact only will never be able to take us to that reality. It may help you on your path, but finally you have to free up all that and invite that real virtue, which is the intense sensitivity, openness into yourself. When you come across that quality of life, when you leave your frontiers of mind and come across that quality which is high voltage sensitivity, openness, awareness, meditative state. That is what is called the Shraddha. In that state, the Sat is born. सत्य की धारणा वहीं होती है. Shraddha is a state where the Satya is born. Sat dharayati sa Shraddha. इसमें सत्य की धारणा हो जाती है, वो अवस्था है श्रद्धा. It's not a sentiment or devotional things, to hook your devotion upon something. No, that's not at all Shraddha. It's a state It's a free, extensive state in consciousness. Where you are really in the state of Shraddha, you know your limitations, and there is something omnipotent, timeless, and you are humble and simple in face of that. That humility and simplicity in that face of omnipresence is the state of Shraddha. And such a state is capable of experiencing the reality, the truth. That is what is necessary, not the Shraddhas of the mind. Shraddha on this, Shraddha on that, what? These are not Shraddhas at all. We are degraded all these high principles, high states. And everybody has a little point of Shraddha upon this, on this. Shraddha is a total state of consciousness. It's not a mind's attitude upon something. So we have lost this. And that's why we have all these Shraddhas, but there is hardly any heart flowing with the Shraddha. All these mental concepts. So we have to reconstruct ourselves, discover these values again with one's own pondering, with one's own search, with one's own meditation, and come into those states, and not to repeat and follow and read and all these things. They are all cheap things. Anybody can do this. The challenge is the discovery unto oneself, with this awareness, with this kind of meditation, with this investigation and pondering. And such a meditative, aware mind can find that which is the timeless, eternal state.
Carrying it a little more, this state of Shraddha, can one attain that state without breaking away from the world we live in, having a family, being with your parents or your other relatives? Now, I've heard the phrase that boat is meant to go in water, but water must not get into it. Is that possible, or is it necessary for one to break away from all that before you go into that realm of consciousness?
We did not think about the extremes right now. If we are interested, we can make a beginning. And the beginning has to be made only from where you are. By just leaving and discarding, you can't reach anywhere. Understanding has to take place from where you are. Try to understand slowly, just whatever are the hindrances, what are the restrictions, what are the burdens. You begin to understand. And that is the place where you are, wherever you are in your family, you are a working person, wherever you are. There is a lot to understand and learn. But we don't make earnest beginning. That's the difficulty. We think about only this, living perpetually in this state, or the other extreme of living everything. And we don't do a thing about it. So to make a beginning, right honestly and earnestly from where you are, that is the right approach. And that right approach will take you, lead you to the right end slowly. Then there will be nothing compulsorily, nothing living or accepting. The whole process would be of understanding. The understanding will reveal the next step every time. And that will be a very, very natural step. There will be no resistance. It will be a very natural step of moving further on. And there lies the beauty of life. It will take you on its own wings, making things clearer and clearer. And there is nothing like just breaking away also. It's a smooth change. It's a transition. But that transition is basically in one's own consciousness, not in the outer. We think more of the outer, breaking away and leaving this. There will be nothing like breaking also. It will be a very smooth transition. We do go through this transition. We break away from many things. You broke away from your family, from your country, from your culture. You came here. You saw the necessity of doing it. It was good for you, and you came. For some people it will be so difficult. But it's not difficult. Those who are interested in this, it's a very smooth thing. You do it. That very understanding will give you the capacity to move further without any resistance. And that's what the beauty of life is. When it tries to elevate, ascend, it goes very smoothly. You know. But the person who is in the valley, at the bottom, will think, oh, there's something wrong, he's doing something. Nothing, there's no, a kind of any forcible action. It all goes on very smoothly. And that's the beauty of transformation of life. We need the transformation. We need not get hooked down to whatever we are. The life is meant for moving further, isn't it? We have to scale the higher heights. And this is the way of moving up, moving further. So there should not be any difficulty. We are not going to fight with anything, break away with anything. But that will be a natural movement towards the higher. And even by living in the house also, it's basically an inner change. It's not basically an outer change. But one has to do a lot to bring about that change in one's own consciousness, in one's own understanding. And there's so much to do while we are in the family, we are in the society also. We need not be afraid of this change. It's a very benevolent change.
We talked about making a beginning. In a culture like we live in the present world, where we're so caught up in things we do and we go our own way. We have a 8-to-5 work schedule, and we all are so hypnotized running around like robots. How does one realize there is a need for beginning, or how does one make a beginning, especially for younger generation that is coming up? They don't even realize that there exists this thing like this, an awareness or another limit of consciousness that they haven't explored or touched.
You can't really make them aware. First you have to become aware of it. And you have to show with your conduct, with your behavior, that there is something like this. You can't make them aware by giving some ideas about them, but by showing them the example. Then they are going to pick it up, that they are going to think. Otherwise they won't just care to know even. That's what's happening. Even the elder person who are so much afraid of the younger, they are floating away, they are just getting indiscipline or just leaving our culture and all that. But I would like to ask these elderly persons also, what are they doing about their own culture? How much cultural they are? They just talk about it. But are they really living that cultural life? Are they carrying that culture within them in their daily activities? They are also interested in all kinds of excitements. They are having all these things, and then when it comes to the younger generation, there is a kind of a scare. And then they think, how should we impart that understanding to them? How could you? Not by telling them some stories of the past. But you have to become an example. You have to see that fact and then behave and let them see this with their own eyes. Then they will catch something. Otherwise you are not going to train them. All these your fears are just your own scares. You are not going to show them.
Do you have any other message that you would like to convey to people of America?
To America, that's what I'm doing it for the last 5.5 months. I'm traveling, lecturing. I started right from California, the West Coast, and I've already visited almost 30 cities, different cities. From west, I went to the south, in Houston and Dallas, and in California I just talked at several cities there, many cities. And then from the Dallas, Houston, I flew to Washington, had some meetings there, then to New York and New Jersey and several places for the last 6-7 weeks. I am on the East Coast, traveling, talking. I mean, there's so many things. It's not just a message of one line or 2 sentences. The understanding of the whole life is a message. The real issue is to know all this structure. Otherwise we do not know what we are doing, how we are shaping, and what is going to come next also. We are always in a fear. We do not know about the next generation. We do not know our own, fortune also. How long, where and what, nothing. There's always a scare. We are not really comfortable, at ease, tranquil and peaceful within ourselves. Why are we missing that quality? Whatever we do is okay. Whatever is necessary, we are prepared. We have little intellect, we have hands and feet, and we can do anything for survival. But what is intrinsically the life? How it works? What's its nature? What is the significance of living really, basically? Are all these temporary excitements life? All these fears and scares and worry of tomorrow, is it life? This whole routine of 8 hours and 5 days, is it life? It's a part. We have to do some of these things. But life is something different. We never think about it. That state, that quality, that energy. We never know about it. And all these even intellectuals and learned people, civilized people, God, they're all busy with their own little games. Everybody has his own little self-centered game. Me, my family, my little area. They're all busy with that only. But they are not aware of that extensive nature of the life, the beauty of it, the aesthetic state of it. And that is the misery, that is the cause of all these fears and scares. When you understand that, realize that, then there is no scare and fear. That understanding itself will give you the stability, the confidence, the tranquility, and the intelligence to tackle anything that comes along. So understanding of oneself in its totality, understanding the whole consciousness basically, then the life has its own beauty and the flow.
Sri Dada, thank you very much for giving us your message and your understanding. I'm sure some of us will be touched by it. Maybe someone will realize what you were talking about, and if even one person realizes, it's worth it. Thank you.
That's all. Yes.
What a profound message Dadaji gave, and such wonderful answers. What really struck me was that he said, Sat dhareti sa shraddha. To create that space or to find that space within ourselves where truth flowers, truth reigns. That is real Shraddha. And it is through that that we know our own inner reality. So it is time for us to meditate for a while and maybe contemplate a little more on what we heard today in this wonderful talk. So just take a comfortable posture. It is nice if the body is held erect. You can have just a little awareness that the spine is elongating upwards all by itself and you are getting taller. And you come to a point where the body is holding and supporting itself. As Dadaji said, mind is the hindrance. So maybe it is time to observe the mind. So as you become rooted in your asana or posture so that the body is holding and supporting itself and it does not become a hindrance. We can create a space of tranquility within ourselves, but just by becoming aware of the breath for a while. So take a few deep breaths, breathe in deep, and breathe out long. One more time, breathe in deep. And breathe out long. Just one last time, breathe in deep. And breathe out long. So the process of self-enquiry has to begin where we are. Dadaji in his talk said, beginning has to be made from where you are. So no matter what is your state, just become aware of your mind. Watch the thoughts that float on the screen of the mind. And most of the thoughts that we encounter are generated from past experiences or the understanding of things that we have. And as Dadaji said, that every understanding or everything that we know or every info is information based. And information is always rooted in the past. So whatever the mind may throw up, it is nothing but a residue from the past. And we can just watch it and let it go. So no matter what the thought, we can stop getting entangled in them. And then they lose their energy. They stay on the mental screen for a while and then they wither away. Of course, the mind is always active. So it is going to bring up another thoughts, other memories, other informations. We can just let the mind be without paying attention to it. And if a strong thought arises, if there is something that arises and it is charged with emotion, you can always ask or tell yourself, I am not my thoughts. I am the one who holds these thoughts. Anything that I hold, I am not that. And you can let that emotion go. Emotion is also a residue from the past. Just sit quietly and observe. If you notice that you are having thoughts, just become aware that there is somebody inside you who is watching those thoughts. So try and withdraw your attention from the thoughts or the sights to the seer, the one who is seeing those thoughts. And you will notice that when you withdraw your attention from the thoughts to the seer of the thoughts simply drop. So each time you experience a strong thought or emotion or anything, just try to withdraw your attention from the same and focus it on the seer or the witness inside who is looking at these thoughts and emotions. And those who find it very difficult to witness the thoughts, they can just transfer their attention to the breath. Watch the breath as it comes in and be with the breath as it goes out. Because as Dadaji said that we have to start where we are at present. We have to make a beginning. So though the idea is to go beyond all techniques, but when we begin, some technique that suits us or that can help us has to be adopted. Any technique is like a vehicle we take to go to a destination, but when we reach the destination, we let go of the vehicle. So there is no need to be attached to the technique. It is just a means and not the end. So take whatever technique helps you to be comfortable with the mind, to be able to watch the machinations of the mind or the functioning of the mind, to gain an understanding of how the mind is functioning. Put the mind under your scanner. without running with the mind. And this is self-inquiry. Meditation is not about being lost in a certain space for a certain period of time. It is about gaining understanding of life, as Dadaji said. And that understanding begins with the investigation. Be with your mind, though you are not. Put expectation aside. Because being with the mind is like putting a stirrer to the mind. It is bound to bring up a lot of things, a lot of issues. But watch it. Things will come up and will also leave. So sit in quiet contemplation for the next few minutes. Observing the mind is a long-drawn process. And as Dadaji told Professor Anjali, never compare, never judge. Just keep observing. Don't bring your judgment to your practice. A Siddha knows that it is a long-drawn process before it comes to fruition. And that is why in his compassion, in one of his books, Dadaji writes, in silence and in serenity, in devotion and humility, I offer these pages to help you discover the potential of intuitive energy, abiding in the core of your personality. Someday, you will return toward your center. How soon? I do not know. But inner life will wait for you. Yet thousands more tomorrows. This is the promise of a Siddha. And this is the promise of all Siddhas. With closed eyes, become aware of your surroundings. Take a few deep breaths. You can allow the bodily energies to flow freely just by adjusting your posture a little, by moving your toes and fingers. And when you think you are ready, you may gradually open your eyes. You may rub the palms of your hands against each other. Put them on your face. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes and be fully present. Of course, the purpose of the meditation is to be fully present at all times. So, first of all, I would like to really acknowledge Sir Anjali's lovely talk. Of course, internet played spoil sport, and I think Hema had to come to my rescue because I was not disconnected for a while. And but what a talk we heard from Dadaji. It's really soul stirring. So much of conviction and authority. And before I forget, I would like to acknowledge all those people who have been associated with Dadaji, and they have been his followers and disciples, and those who really came and attended this program today. So, Professor Anjali, you would like to say something to them? We really appreciate their presence so much. You have to unmute yourself. Yes, now you can.
It is the fragrance of that honey which has drawn them. And it's always a joy to listen to him. And even today, I got something out of this meditation personally. And I'm sure they also had their own exploration, each one of them. And so did the Tuesday group. What I remember is he would say, don't just continue in time. That is what we do. We just continue in time, veering towards our likes and away from our dislikes, without any magnanimous, benevolent vision, which would bring us fulfillment. So I felt what I gained from today's meditation was his statement, there is no ease, in the way we live. And that is why we live in disease. So to live at ease, one has to give time and talent. That is what Dadaji said again and again. It's not that you have to go to the Himalaya and sit there all your life. But if we set aside some time and talent for this work, then we may touch that dimension. And then we will operate from there. Every speech, thought, and action will come from that dimension, and then it will be the right speech, thought, and action. Till then, it's merely strengthening the mind, whatever we do. So that is what I wanted to share.
Yeah,
Thank
nice.
you so much, God.
Thank you, Professor Anjali. We are so delighted to have you here. And thank you for this talk and this exposition, subsequent exposition. Anybody would like to say something? Anyone? What? Everyone is zapped? So it was very, very powerful. I had not really thought whether how was the meditation? Could somebody give a feedback about the meditation? Was it a challenge to watch the mind?
Hello, yes.
Huh?
Today's meditation, I don't know, there was some energy that came, and my whole body discomfort, mind discomfort. I was so agitated all the while. And of course, I kept watching and watching and watching. But towards the last few minutes, it all just subsided so beautifully. It was like the calm after a storm, you know. The storm came, and then because that statement of Dadaji, that mind is the hindrance, maybe it went into my psyche, and the mind appeared with all its challenges, including the physical discomfort. But then at the end of it, the prasad also came very beautifully in the form of beautiful few minutes, but there was such total, complete silence and calm, soothing. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, thank
so
you,
much.
thank you. Anybody else? Padma, would you like to say something? You have to unmute yourself.
I was struggling.
Padma is another professor from UDCT. So we are two professors today. Yes, Padma, please go ahead. Sorry for the interruption.
So much to watch the mind, you know. So it was quite a struggle. So I don't know whether I was really successful, but nevertheless, I could feel a lot of energy in my body, a lot of energy. But my mind, the thoughts today, I mean, earlier when I was meditating, I think I never got as many thoughts as I got today because of the conscious, and I just keep watching them maybe. Lot of thoughts, but very disconnected. There was no sequence. And I tried to say, okay, let me watch it. And I don't know. I don't have any.
But that was what was intended, Padma. Because see, what happens is that we sometimes, you know, that the kind of meditations we do, to a certain extent, we are engaging ourselves in something or a practice whereby we put, you know, what is disturbing, we are putting it under a carpet. And when we say, okay, I'm not going to do anything, let the mind show what it wants to show, then that is the kind of an invitation to the mind to come out in full form. So that can be challenging at times, but that is the challenge. Yeah. Because ultimately, you know, you cannot be using a particular technique every time in life. So one has to reach that state where one is really aware and present fully in every moment, and every moment is a moment of meditation because one is fully present. So that's the challenge. So this is just a glimpse of what will happen when we really take that challenge, and that is why people like Dadaji, they go in a secluded place and just be there and face it.
And the concept of witnessing was something that, you know, I've heard before also, and this got reinforced today. And I think there have been occasions when in real stressful situations I have tried to practice, and that has helped a lot.
That has it.
Now there is a reinforcement of that, and probably this would, you know, become more a part of me, the witnessing. Because in between it had waned away. So it's reinforced.
I had not really planned, you know, I was wondering that, you know, when Dadaji is talking, afterwards, my giving a meditation instruction or asking people to meditate. I mean, one idea was that we just, after the video stops, we just say, okay, now close your eyes and sit still. But then I thought that maybe perhaps, you know, saying a few things would be helpful. So that is how I just played it spontaneously, whatever came to my mind. And I used some of the statements made by Dadaji for supporting what I was saying. So, but I also did feel that there was a very, very strong energy. So whether anybody or any of the participants, whether you, I would like to tell all of you that whether you felt that you meditated or not, but you received something. It was really powerful.
But I would just like to say one more sentence. Gaurav, your spontaneity is what we look forward to each Tuesday.
I don't know. That is something that I think that is why I always say that I am not the one who is doing it. Others are doing it. So
just look forward to this. When I miss it for a particular reason, I am really disappointed. But I think almost all of us really love the way you take forward.
Thank you so much. For bringing me here, credit goes to Hema. Hema, you want to say something?
Thanks to Hema ji also.
Okay, sir, when you were talking about thoughts, I mean during meditation, so suddenly the air balloons came and they were as if my head is open and they are just going towards the sky. That kind of vision came to me. Don't hold on to the string, leave,
Let them go.
just let them go. And when you said, I know witness and self, so many things, but when you said observe the witness, suddenly a huge figure of mine sitting and smiling, inviting me like, okay, come and sit. And I was very small in comparison to that figure. And that figure said, look, and everything was just passing by in that fast track, just like a train just passes and whole thing. And then she said, just keep on looking. That's it. That was so wonderful. That was so wonderful to see, okay, sab ja raha hai, kyun ulajhna hai sab mein.
And see, the fast train, that also is a very significant thing, which is fast. That means that you do not get entangled to any particular thought.
Entangled.
So you are just witnessing. Yes. Things are going by, let them go. Yes. Just observe.
And the way she was smiling, she said, हो रहा है सब, जाने दो.
Very beautiful. Hema is a very visual person, so she always gets this.
Dadaji has something for her. Dadaji says, let thoughts be wandering as they do, but you stay calm and tranquil within you.
Wow.
Like the clouds against the sky.
Wow.
Some of them are white, some are black, but you are the sky dimension. So that is what Hemaji was.
Anjali ji, any of Dadaji's disciples or anybody like to say something?
Yeah, usually Vipin says something. He has been with Dadaji the longest.
Oh, so
Vipin
Mr. Vipin, where is Vipin? He was there.
Is he still there? Oh.
That I don't know because the number. Yes, Mr. Bhelande.
Yes,
Mr. Vipin ji, you have to unmute yourself.
Vipin?
Yes, now yes.
Vipin will say something beautiful, I'm sure. Do you want to, Vipin?
Yeah, little bit I may say.
Please go ahead.
Okay.
राजकुमार जी म्यूट करिए अपने को. विपिन जी बोलिए.
Yeah. Okay. I had the privilege to be with Dadaji for some years, and by today's message, I'm somewhat quiet actually. I'm quite quiet, and I'm not able to say anything as such. Today, when I listened, it was very much affecting me, and I am not able to put anything into the words.
That we can understand. That we can understand. So thank you for being there.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for being there. God bless you. Yeah. So I think it's a good note to end. Or anybody else would like to say something? Pandey ji, कुछ बताएंगे?
सर बताने लायक कुछ नहीं है. मुझे लगता है कि जो दादाजी ने 38 मिनट्स में कहा, मुझे 38 बर्थ्स लगेंगे समझने में. इतना deep understanding, इतनी deep knowledge within those few words, and I appreciate the questioner also. Very pertinent and very relevant questions were asked, and obviously the answers were responses were profound, which it will take some time to absorb and understand, sir. That is what.
This video is actually we will be putting this on the YouTube.
I'm waiting for that, sir. Actually, I have to listen to 3-4 times to understand a little bit of it, sir.
But if you put Dadaji's name there in YouTube, you can get this video on YouTube also. Of course, we will be putting it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, looking forward to that, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for sir, this enlightenment, sir.
Thank you.
This is a great, sir. It was great thing, sir.
Thank you. So, I think it's time to say goodbye. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadgurunath Maharaj ki